Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. So today we are doing our weekly market analysis where we look through all sets in Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet through now Mega Evolutions, and we look at price changes and even buy volumes, and we compare them to eBay sometimes and see if the prices correlate. Now, if you've been here in the past and you've watched many of these market analysis videos that I make, I typically go through every single set, but I'm going to be making somewhat of a change. I'm going to be looking at sets that are specifically having price movement, maybe some sets that are being bought out a little more, or just sets that are having a little bit more of a price change, and even different products. This is going to allow me to look into different products and have more of a diversified video for things that are changing within the market. But before we get started, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. Every little bit helps, guys. If you're on a mobile device, if you're on a phone, a tablet, there's the hype button. If you can press the hype button, help my video get a little more exposure. It just helps my small channel out. Every little bit you guys do, liking, commenting, it all helps. So whatever you guys do, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys. So yeah, even though we are going to be changing the video a slight bit, we're still going to be seeing a lot of price movement. So much is happening in the hobby. This 2026 bull market has gotten off to a hot start. I don't think the bull market ever really ended, right? Well, whatever we saw through 2025, we had a decent correction in the fourth quarter of 2025, and it just seems to just continue kicking up. Because in reality, even with the correction, we were well above MSRP. We had items that were still 5x, 6x, whatever you bought it at. Just insane portfolios that were still up 100 to 200, 300, 400, 500%. So we're going to be seeing a lot of that still happening. Things that corrected in price really were buying opportunities, and we're going to be seeing that more and more as the year goes out with the 30th anniversary, with Ascended Heroes coming out. There's so much hype right now in the Pokemon market. And then on top of that, we have celebrities like Logan Paul. I even saw this guy. Who was the guy, the quarterback for the Browns? I forgot his name. You guys know who he is. Short quarterback. Johnny Manziel had a like an advertisement for a different Pokemon opening like digital pack. So we're seeing more and more celebrities, more people, more eyes on the Pokemon market just coming into play that are going to make Pokemon more and more popular. It's going to bring more investors in, more collectors in, and so on and so forth. It's just going to cause more price movement and maybe more expensive products out there. But yeah, enough of that. Let's get started, guys. So the first thing we're going to be looking at is the Phantasmal Flames booster box, and we're starting off here because in in the last 3 months, the box took a little bit of a dip with all that negative talk, with people considering the pull rates being easy, maybe making that Charizard a little more affordable than everybody thought it would be. But in reality, it's still the best Charizard we ever had. It's an insane card. And because of that, after the new year, where things started getting hot, the box has increased almost 10% in value from the end of December towards today. And I think that's a very, very big deal. People thought that this box would not be investable whatsoever. And in reality, I think you were wrong. You know, we saw what Obsidian Flames did. Obsidian Flames is nowhere close to as good as the set this is. The top chase in there comes nowhere close to the top chase in this one. And we've seen that box hit $330, and it's sitting at $300 now. Phantasmal Flames is at $240. Probably a good time to buy if you really, really were going to hold for 5 years. If you're not going to hold for 5 years, maybe you could wait. Maybe there's going to be another wave. But once again, as I've said many, many times before, if you want to wait for another wave, while the box is running up, you don't know where the price point is going to be when that wave finally hits. If Phantasmal Flames gets another booster box reprint in 6 months from now, where is this price going to be in 6 months? Just consider that whenever we're waiting for reprints, and I know that I wait for reprints as well. I want a better entry point, and that's just the smart thing to do as an investor, I think. Consider this: when you have a set that has value in it, that has something like a Charizard, that's probably the best ever made as of now. Where's this box going to be in 6 months? Maybe when it gets that reprint. Is it going to be at 280, 290, maybe $300, considering the fact that we're in another bull market? And then when there is another reprint, how far down is it really going to drop in the middle of that bull run? So just questions that I have in mind that I just want you guys to have in mind as well. Maybe it'll help you make some better decisions, or maybe it'll just help you make a decision overall and you're stuck in between buying something or not buying something and just looking into it like that. And of course, again, guys, not financial advice. This is my opinion on everything that I'm doing in the market or that I'm looking at in the market. Just my opinion, and I just want to talk to you guys about it, and maybe you guys can talk to me about it in the comments. Looking on eBay, looking at the price point that we had on TCG Player, where the box is sitting at about $250, it looks like people are kind of getting comfortable with the idea that this box is more valuable than we thought it was. We did have a sale as of yesterday at 233, but then today 254. Let's see, these are all other sales. $267 as of today as well. Another one at 250, 245 as of yesterday, 225 with $7 delivery as of today. Of course, on eBay, sometimes you do find some deals, and usually that's where I want to go with images as well. But as we're seeing now, the deals that we're seeing are just fewer and fewer, right? Looking at another box here at 230 on bids, right? But with $14 delivery as of today. Another one at 235 with $5 delivery. 267 with $32 delivery from the UK. Now, once again, I think people are getting comfortable with the idea that Phantasmal Flames is a little more valuable than what we thought it was, where we thought it was going to go to $200. Worse than people thought it was going to go all the way to MSRP, which is insane. I didn't agree whatsoever. There are some nice cards in there that I like, aside from the Charizard, like the Flygon, like the Wigglytuff, which has the cute factor, which always has a thing that you need to put a price point on. A card that's cute, like the Mischievous that's going to come out in Descendant Heroes, that's going to have a nice price point. Cuteness is a factor in Pokemon. So there are some nice cards in Temporal Flames that people just look over and I don't know, you just want to have negative talk on a set. And I think sometimes you need to take the time to look a little past what people are saying, kind of block out the noise, and just make a better purchase, or at least an estimation with your own thoughts, just digging a little deeper. Next, the Phantasmal Flames ETB. I did talk about Pokemon Center ETBs in my last video, discussing on whether some I feel are overvalued, undervalued at the current moment, considering what the PSA 10 value was going to be for that card within the box. And I think the Phantasmal Flames is going to be a great pickup, right? If you already have it, good for you. If you can't pick it up, or you haven't picked it up, and you couldn't before, I think right now may be a good time, because it did have a decent dip. I did want to point that out. This is one of the most displayable Pokemon Center ETBs that we've had so far. Probably second to Destined Rivals, in my opinion. It looks so cool in hand, especially. It does have that Charcadet Pokemon Center promo in there, and that Pokemon is only getting more and more popular. Of course, it evolves into both Cerulege and Armarouge, and those are also getting more popular. And the card just looks nice, so I think it's going to have a decent PSA 10 value, and it's currently sitting at $178. But in the last month, as we're seeing that, we're looking at the 3-month chart, right? And it took a nice dip because the pre-orders, pre-orders, before it even officially came out, were insane. So you ignore this area on TCG Player, it always happens. But even after release, it did take a little bit of a dip in the last month. And this is where I mean, I'm only going to show things that have a decent price movement in either direction. It has gone up 7%. So while people don't talk about the Pokemon Center ETB, it is slowly climbing. And I cannot wait till we get PSA 10 returns on those Charcadet cards, because it's just, they're still behind at PSA and people haven't gotten their cards back. When I went to go look up these cards, at least the ones that were up for sale, I only found 2. One that was already sold at a CGC Pristine 10, sold for $200, and that one that was actually in the middle of a bid auction that was a PSA 10 and was sitting at $211, and it still had a day or two left. So that card was still going to climb. I think that this Pokemon Center ETB at the moment is undervalued. Next, we're going to look at the Mega Evolution Enhanced Booster Box. Once again, did the same thing before, right? Was really, really high. We got that second wave, completely brought down that price to about $220. And now within the last month, another one up 7%. We did have a little bit of a buyout on January 12th. 86 boxes were bought, pushing the value of this box really high, all the way up to $260, now back down to $243. So a little bit of a price movement on Mega Evolution, considering that it did get bought out. I did want to point that out there. That happened within the last week, actually. It was the day after my market analysis video, because I did it on the 11th. So that wasn't showing on the chart just yet, because it hadn't happened. On eBay, once again, we're seeing prices pretty close to market. $220, which is a pretty decent buy for a booster box these days. That's probably the cheapest you're going to find a booster box. $230 with that acrylic on there, a pretty nice buy. Another one that didn't even go out. $215 with $10 delivery, still pretty close to market. 2 for $450 at $225. And I'm saying close to market because some of that box price is starting to pull back, because it was a decent buyout and there were still listings that were a bit cheaper than whatever they purchased. So that box is still pulling back on TCG Player, but we're still seeing boxes at $200 and basically $30 when you add in the shipping. So still around market price. It does correlate. I just wanted to point out once again what Mega Evolution was doing because of that buyout. Next, the Destined Rivals booster box, sitting at $422. Had that decent buy at that TCG Player event during Black Friday. Went all the way up to $416, pulled back down to $390, and now within the last month, gone up another 5%, up to $422. Most recently sold at $428, guys. That price is just rising and rising and rising to 430. And a lot of these here, you're seeing listings that aren't even accurate ones because they're like open packs. As we go down the listings, we're seeing that that's just the case. The lowest listed right now is 425. After that, we're basically at 430, and it's just climbing even further and further after that. So unless we get more booster boxes hit the market, this box is just going to continue to ride up. It's so crazy the way that it's just climbing. 5% on a box that's already at $400. It's crazy, and it's just so new, right? This thing is 7 months old. So unless we get another reprint, this box will continue to climb. On eBay, we're seeing some things that are somewhat similar to what we're seeing as a market price. Yeah, we see sometimes we're seeing some deals, but the market is so hot right now that they aren't coming around so often. $385 with $9 delivery is the cheapest that I've seen on eBay. After that, we saw this one that was $500 and it was best offer accepted. I actually could not find this one on 130 point. That's too bad for that. But $426 on bids with $14 delivery. Another one at $450, $9 delivery. This is all today. See what else? We have another one at $400 and basically $60. This is what I'm talking about, guys. This box is flying. Not only on TCG Player. TCG Player is usually the more expensive place for you to buy, but eBay, even eBay isn't giving you deals on this. Everything's just so much more expensive. It's so crazy. I don't know if this is accurate at 370, but some things that look a little crazy, you may not trust, but this could be that. It could be a seller that doesn't have that much feedback, listed for 370 and it sold right away. So that's that. Next, Destined Rivals Pokemon Center ETBs. I did want to touch up on this, especially since I had my eyes on the Pokemon Center ETB from the last video. $316 current market price. It did take a huge dip, guys. This thing had a high of $385. We're seeing right there. You're seeing right where the mouse is at. There was a sale or two at $400. Since then, it has dipped. It dropped down to $300, but within the last month, it has gone up almost another 7%. So it started out the month at $295. It is up to $316. The lowest listed currently right now is at about $320. So Destined Rivals ETB, it is one of the ETBs that I pointed out in my last video that I feel like is a great time to buy. The ETB being at about $300 to $320. The PSA 10 value of that Wobbuffet is at about $600 and something dollars. I saw it was double the value of the PC ETB, and for that reason alone, on top of it being Destined Rivals, on top of it being so displayable, because ETB is just such good looking, it's just a great box. It's a great time to buy this product, in my opinion, right now. I know it's expensive, but for the value of what you're getting, with what it is, the set, the exclusivity, the PSA 10 value, I think it's a great time to buy into Destined Rivals. Looking on eBay, once again, we're seeing what we're seeing on the market, right? On TCG Player, $325, $5 delivery puts you at $330. As of yesterday, another one at $300, but with $15 delivery, $315, $310 with $750 delivery, $295 with $8.81 delivery. That's probably the cheapest one I saw here. $312 here. There's one best offer accepted. $295. This is actually the cheapest one. Free delivery. $300, $13 delivery. So we're basically seeing what we're seeing on TCG Player. Not too many deals to be had. The best thing you can do is probably look it up locally and try to get a deal that way. But right now on eBay, no deals for the Destined Rivals PC ETB. Great pickups, though, in my opinion. I think these are going to do really well long term. Next, I want to talk about the Destined Rivals regular ETBs. Not because they're good products to pick up right now, in my opinion, but because they're skyrocketing. They're at $147 market price, which is insane. In the last month, 11%. In the last 3 months, 24%. 0.5%. This is insane. We have not had a reprint of this product. We saw what happened with Surging Sparks ETBs. They were reaching just over $100. Then we got flooded with with regular ETBs. The same thing was happening with Twilight Masquerade ETBs. They were up towards, I think, like 90 or 80 something dollars. And now they're not there no more. Surging Sparks ETBs are about $75. Twilight Masquerade ETBs are about $70 because we got flooded with these. These are not exclusive. They're not that rare. Yeah, we haven't gotten a reprint as of yet, but we will get regular ETBs. These are the things that are probably most printed out of all, aside from other ancillary products. But when it comes to the top tier products, you know, booster box, ETBs, booster bundles, these get printed a decent amount. I expect these to hit the market at some point. I don't expect us to be struggling to see regular Destined Rivals ETBs. I think wait on these, right? I think that's the right thing to do. $150 for these is just too crazy, especially at the moment because the set's so new. We haven't even given Pokemon Center an opportunity to actually print these. So just keep that in mind. Prismatic Evolutions Elite Trainer boxes. Wild what these things are doing. Sitting at $126. They did drop down decently in price from $136 to about $112 at some point. Here we go, $113, because we had those Sam's Clubs boxes hit. But in the last month, the box is up almost 13%. What Prismatic has done in the last year was probably unexpected by most. Everyone thought it was going to crash. We thought they were going to go to MSRP because they were going to get printed to the ground, and they did get printed to the ground. But they did not crash whatsoever. There's so much trust behind this item here, so much belief. I think everybody's so confident on Prismatic being probably the best investment you could probably make as of right now. You know, what you're getting for the value in comparison to other specialty sets, I think I would agree that this is probably the best investment you can make right now. If you don't have any Prismatic Evolutions, I think it's a good time to start picking some up. We've seen that no matter how much they get printed, you know, the product that the price holds. It's not going below $100. I don't see that happening anytime soon unless Pokemon just decides to focus on Prismatic, which is very, very unlikely. They have so many other sets to print. They still have Journey Together, Destined Rivals, you know, more Black Bolt and White Flare, you know, just different things. The mega sets, it's just not happening. But, you know, if you can pick some up, you know, both ETBs and bundles, great time. Look it on eBay. Best offer accepted on $125. Another one here at 130. But 125 here because we're seeing that those are crossed out for the best offer accepted. But these here at 125 with $7 delivery above market. Another one here at 115. Pretty close to market, I would say, but a pretty good buy because you have that Pokeball tin there. Another one 125, $8 delivery, 120 free delivery, and $105 with $8 delivery. But you know, I would be willing to pay a little less with this yellow $40 stamp on it because I don't like it. I really don't. I think it diminishes the displayability of the product. But moving forward, either way, still basically matching market price. But a great set, right? Next, I wanted to talk about the Prismatic Evolutions Pokemon Center ETBs, which also took a huge hit after that correction. They had a high of about $407. In the last month, though, they're back up 11.6%. They had come all the way down to 312. They're back up to $360 market price. It's Prismatic Evolutions. You know, you have exclusivity here. The only thing that I don't like is that the PSA 10 value of that EV has dropped dramatically. That is the only thing I don't like. This Pokemon Center ETB, unless I'm getting it wrong, because I did look at it a few days ago, I'm pretty sure the ETB is more valuable than the PSA 10 value of that Pokemon Center stamped EV, which I really, really don't like. But then again, we've had multiple drops of this ETB. It doesn't mean that it's not going to be valuable. I think that it's just that EV, there's more EVs in circulation out there. But I think as time moves forward and as those listed PSA 10 EV promos do move out of all these websites, whether it be eBay, whether it be Facebook, wherever they're listed, the less and less of those we have available on the market because at some point someone's going to buy it and just keep it. And we'll see less and less of those on the market. And I think it'll make this product more valuable. It'll also make that PSA 10 more valuable. I just don't like where it's at right now. But either way, I think that if you do buy in now, long term, if you're actually in it for the long term, you're going to hold 5 years. I think you're good. Next on eBay, Looking at Pokemon Center ETBs for Prismatic on eBay, sitting at $325 for this sale as of yesterday from a seller with no feedback, though. Keep that in mind. Another one sold for $380 right there as of yesterday. Another one, $325, best offer accepted. Another one, $350, best offer accepted. Still, it's got to be something relatively close, right? I didn't want to look at 130 point. There are a lot of these sales that for some reason just aren't coming up at 130 point. It leads me to believe that some of these are getting canceled, but you know, that's a whole different topic. $345 as of yesterday for the Pokemon Center ETB. Another one at $330 with $13 delivery, $375, $8 delivery, and $370. So it's moving, guys. The value of the value of the Pokemon Center ETB is starting to ride back up. We're seeing the market price at 360, but we're seeing some sales going back up towards $400. We're seeing 375, 370, 380, 350, 342. So the value of the box is starting to increase once again. It may start driving the PSA 10 value as well for that EV there. Usually one of the two does, you know, makes the movement first, right? Either the ETB rides up and the PSA 10 value follows after that, or the PSA 10 value first rides up and then that increases the value of the Pokemon Center ETB or any other product. It could even be a booster box. Usually one of the two moves first and the other one follows. Next, Prismatic Evolutions booster bundles. I did want to talk about these because these have been skyrocketing in the past month, but in the past 3 months alone, they're up 13%. And in the past month, they're up 11.6%. Now, I did want to talk about these specifically because I know people like to talk about the booster bundle display and you know, the value of the booster bundle display, how much they've appreciated, how exclusive they really are. You know, I brought this up. I was on Chuck's stream today, and I did bring this up, you know, as a question for him, but mostly for the community in the live, because I wanted people to interact a little bit and just think about this idea. So if you have a booster bundle display and you're buying it for about 300 and I mean, that's $1,300 and something dollars, for example, which I've seen many sold for that price. And then you have the booster bundles, the single booster bundles that are selling for about $60, putting you at like $600 for 10 of them. Eventually, long term, you know, looking forward, let's say 3 to 5 years, and you're trying to liquidate this product, how many people do you really think are going to display it? And that's just my thought process. How many people really want the display? Do they really want the actual display? Like, because that's what you're buying with that huge premium at $1,300. Is somebody actually going to display the booster bundle display, or are they going to have to sell them one at a time because a lot of people are going to want to rip Prismatic? I'm a big believer in that. Prismatic, 151, Paldean Fates, you know, a lot of people are buying these booster bundle displays with a huge premium, like a huge, insane premium. But I'm a big believer in the fact that people are going to want to rip Prismatic. The temptation of wanting to get the God Pack, the Umbreon in there, all the other evolutions, just a booster pack that can have $3,000 to $5,000 worth of value depending on where we're at in the market. Because of course there's price changes on all those singles, but at some point, even out of rotation, are those singles going to increase in value? I think so. So I think that is a much better play, in my opinion, to buy these single individual booster bundles for $60 as opposed to buying that booster bundle display. And I think that's going to be a much more niche product, and there's going to be less people out there looking for a booster bundle display to actually display. So just wanted to talk about that real quick. But once again, it's been making moves. The booster bundle has been moving from like $40 or $50 up to $63, which is pretty crazy. Next, I did want to talk about the Prismatic Evolution surprise box. I had a beautiful conversation with somebody named Reverend Rips. I'm pretty sure you guys have either seen him in my comment section or other comment sections, or maybe even like live streams. He's very prevalent on the Sundanomics live streams. Reverend Rips, really cool dude. I had a great conversation with him, and we were talking about this Prismatic Evolution surprise box. I did want to talk about this as well. It is climbing in price in the last month. It's gone up almost up 6%. It's 5.75%. But thinking forward, you know, 3 to 5 years from now, again, people wanting to rip Prismatic, I think it's going to be another maybe like cherry on top to have the surprise box, right? You're going to not only have those 4 packs within the surprise box, but you're going to open it and try to get a cool promo, right? You might be aiming for the Umbreon, or you may be wanting to complete the set. But opening the surprise box is going to be just another thing that's going to be on top of you having the opportunity to open Prismatic. So I think the surprise boxes are going to be pretty nice long term. I think these are pretty underrated in my opinion. So I just wanted to talk about those as well. Next, the Prismatic Evolution booster pack has been taken off in the last month for sure. Last 3 months, the booster pack itself is up 6%. In the last month, the booster pack is up almost 14%. Once again, like I was saying before, a lot of these products, when one starts ticking off, whether it be the sealed or the single booster pack like this, or even the singles within the set itself, it starts to drive up the value of others. So seeing that the single packs are moving upward, expect all the other sealed products to start moving up as well. Keep that in mind moving forward. Surging Sparks booster box is next. The booster box is up to $262 after it had those huge waves hitting vending machines. It was down to $220, now back up to $262 in the last month, up 7.7%. Great appreciation and value for Surging Sparks. You know, it's had people talk negatively about the set as well, but I think the set's going to do really well. It's Pikachu. You know, Pikachu equals Pokemon. Everything Pokemon's going to do is going to include Pikachu from here to the very end. Um, it's also got the Latias Ascendant, the Milotic, the Ceruledge, the Executor, and just other cards in there. I think the set's going to do really well long term. It's a great time to pick it up. It's heading up towards, you know, that all-time high of $300. It's up to $260. Of course, it's going to take its time with steps up, but it's on that way. It's back on the path to being at that $300 price point, and I think we're going to see it happen this year. Next, eBay. As of today, sold $230, $10 delivery, putting it at $240. $230 with $17 delivery, basically putting it at $250. Another one at $240 right here. And we saw some cases as well. Some cases sold at $1,700. 2 cases from the very same seller, which is insane. I don't think it's such a bad purchase right here. The 6 booster boxes puts you at $1,500 with a $200 premium. That premium is pretty nasty. But long term, once again, if you are looking forward 5 years or something like that, I think you're going to do very well on this anyways. But I would like to have gotten this box with a little bit less of a premium, but I don't think it's too bad thinking about where I believe this product is going to be in 5 years from now. Another one on bids at $253, $8 delivery, getting pretty close to market. We do see some sales here though. We did see some sales as of today that tell us that we can find some deals on Surging Sparks on eBay, but how long are these going to be around for? We really don't know. Once again, you know, this market is really hot. Things are moving and people are buying. Next, Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box for Surging Sparks, sitting at $197. So once again, I was saying I wanted to talk about products that were having a decent price movement, whether it be upward or downward. And we're seeing that in the last 3 months, this box has come down 30%, basically 31%. And in the last month, it's down 5.4%. And it really looks like an entry point. At just under $100, I mean, last sold is $213. Lowest listed, what is it at? $211. So you missed your opportunity at the moment, if it ever comes back, to buy this product under $200. But I'll tell you right now, this box was pretty close to $300. $298 is where it was at. It's at basically over $200 right now because that's the lowest listed. I think it's a great entry point for this Surging Sparks Pokemon Center ETB. And you have the Shinji Kanda art there for the Magneton. Now, it doesn't have a great value at a PSA 10, sadly. Surprisingly, actually, because it is a Shinji Kanda card. And there was a lot of hype behind Shinji Kanda. Whether that hype is dying down, which I think it might be. I don't know why. We don't hear about it so much anymore. But it is a Shinji Kanda art. And the card looks pretty good, in my opinion. Next, I did want to talk about these as well. Surging Sparks ETBs had a huge buyout about a week ago. You know, Pokechuck was talking about it during his live today, and I was curious about this, but I don't think this is a great purchase at the moment. I mean, they can do well long term, but we did have a lot hit the market. If you did invest into these, for example, you would have to wait a pretty decent amount of time for these to actually appreciate to a point where you feel happy with them and you're comfortable moving these and just liquidating them in general. You're going to have to wait for them to become pretty scarce with how much has actually come to the market, which is pretty crazy because in the last month we have had 351 sold. A big portion of that was this buyout where 77 of them were sold. But aside from that, you really will have to wait a pretty decent amount of time for the regular ETBs to appreciate in value. Next, the Stellar Crown booster box. It is climbing back up, right? In the last 3 months, it did drop down all the way to $247. It was up towards almost $300, more like $290. In the last month, though, up 5%. Back up from that 250 range to $262. Stellar Crown, it's not the deepest set, right? It does have the Bulbasaur, which is amazing. It has a Squirtle, which I absolutely love. But this box has one thing on its side, and that's scarcity. We all know scarcity plays a big factor in Pokemon. If you did want to move into the set, scarcity will be the factor here that really, it makes this box appreciate in value over time. You will still have to give it some time for it to appreciate even more, just because the set isn't as deep. I think it'll still do well because of how scarce it is or has been. Next, I want to talk about the Stellar Crown Pokemon Center ETBs. We did have some of these drop on the Pokemon Center website, and it absolutely tanked the price of this. It was at $190, now back down to 105, 114 actually right now. In the last month, though, it's up 7.7%. And once again, a lot of times, products drop in value, and it just creates a better entry point for a lot of people, and the market is seeing it exactly as that. They're starting to buy. The value is starting to increase for this, and once again, exclusive item. They're rare. They're not going to get reprinted, whether they come back on the Pokemon Center or not, just because they have more in stock. I don't believe they're reprinting these. It's just back stock, right? And so I think these are a great item to pick up, especially right now for the price that we're seeing them at. A great time to pick those up. Looking on eBay, I searched up Stellar Crown booster boxes, and I'm glad that it came up just like this, because we're actually getting a mix of both the Pokemon Center ETB and the booster box on the listings here, like mixed together, which is great. We're seeing the Pokemon Center ETB right here at $110 with $7 delivery. Not bad. Pretty similar to what we're seeing on TCG Player. We're seeing a booster box here with the best accepted offered, which I don't know exactly what it is, with $20 delivery, which should be pretty close, bringing you back with the delivery price, bringing you back to where market price is at. We're seeing another Pokemon Center ETB here at $119. Once again, pretty close to what we're seeing on TCG Player. We have a booster box here at $230 plus the delivery of $12 under market, under TCG Player market at least. But in my experience, from when I'm just doing these market analysis videos, Stellar Crown is one of the boxes that you consistently see deals on eBay. So Stellar Crown is one of the things that if I wanted to buy, I'd come straight to eBay. I would not even blink. I wouldn't look on TCG Player whatsoever, because the deals for Stellar Crown are on eBay. And so yeah, guys, that's really what's that for Stellar Crown. You're gonna see your deals on here, but once again, I don't think we're gonna be seeing deals for too long, unless people just want to move product really quickly. Next, Twilight Masquerade booster box, $302 currently. It was at some point at $330, came down to $265 in the last month, up 5%, back up to $300. Great, like insane for this product, right? But this product also, not only does it have that amazing Greninja in there, not only does it have the Eevee in there, um, it also has, once again, scarcity on its side. Will we see a reprint of Twilight Masquerade? We haven't seen much of that. We haven't seen, they reprinted Surging Sparks. They put them in vending machines before they hit Twilight Masquerade. Is that the point? Are they going to start moving from Surging Sparks onward? Because we haven't heard anything about reprints for any other set whatsoever. Whether they were rumors or not that we've had within the last year, none of them were accurate. We haven't seen any reprints for Twilight Masquerade and anything before that. So this might be it for Twilight Masquerade. It's been out for over a year. It's once again pretty scarce, and it's sitting at $300. And it rotates out in 1 year and about 3 months. What will it do in that 1 year if we don't get any reprints? Pretty wild to think about, right? Twilight Masquerade on eBay, as of today, $275 with $7 delivery with an acrylic. Not a bad buy there whatsoever. On bids, another one at $275 on bids again, free delivery. And $300 here, best offer accepted with $10 delivery. We're pretty close to market here, guys. $300 right? What was market on TCG Player. We're seeing some at 275 on bids only. That's usually where you find your deals, which is still relatively close. $25 on the market though. That's a pretty good buy in my opinion. But we're seeing others still close to there, 270, 310 as of 2 days ago on bids. Another one here that was at 300 with best offer accepted, but a $17 delivery fee. So seeing a few deals here for Twilight Masquerade, nothing too crazy. But once again, those sales are just becoming less and less. They just don't come up as often unless somebody wants to sell them or you get them on bids. All right, moving forward, Temporal Forces booster box, $268. The box was all the way up to $282. Came back down to $250 within the last month. It is up 5%. Back up to $268. Most recently sold at $274, and lowest listed is basically $270. So this box will start moving upward a little bit. It will for sure have much more organic growth as we move forward because we're seeing the listings not being dramatic, right? We're not seeing huge step ups on the listings here. They're still staying around $275, which is not bad for an item. Organic growth, I'd side with organic growth more than that big dramatic growth because usually it calls for a pullback, right? It calls for some kind of a correction. But at $270 with Temporal Forces, once again, are we going to see more Temporal Forces? It seems pretty scarce in my opinion. 100 listed on TCG Player. If we haven't seen anything for Twilight Masquerade or Stellar Crown, I doubt we're going to see anything for Temporal Forces, right? Is that for sure? For sure thing? No. But this box is just getting older and older as we move forward. About a year and a half old. Once again, also rotating out next year in April. So keep that in mind. I know that some people talk negatively about Temporal Forces, but the art in it is amazing. There are a lot of people that actually like Temporal Forces, as opposed to what you hear on YouTube with content creators a lot of time just talking negatively about sets, right? But it's like a huge echo chamber. Like one guy says it, then another guy says it, and it's just this back and forth of people repeating themselves, not even giving their own opinion, not even thinking about whether they actually like a card. You know, you have these 3 legendary dogs here on top of many other cards in Temporal Forces, right? Like the Ghastly, like the Morty's Conviction with the Gengar, making a trainer card actually valuable. But the 3 legendary dogs, whether it be Raikou, Suicune, or Entei, having a different version of those cards is actually pretty cool in my opinion. I do love the 3 legendary dogs. They're very nostalgic to me. But being able to have cards that I do like from Neo Genesis that are from the 3 legendary dogs, and having all those old cards, and then, you know, maybe one day moving forward and saying, wow, Temporal Forces actually had these really cool dogs in different versions, you know, alternative versions, whatever you want to call them, future, uh, you know, or whatever you call them. I forgot what they were, whether they're future or ancient. I think just having different versions of them is actually really cool. And I think moving forward in the future, long term, when, you know, 5 years from now, when these are out of print and people want to look back onto things like this, there are a lot of people that are going to think they're cool as well. On eBay, Temporal Forces, as of today, $250 with the acrylic. Not bad right there. Still cheaper than market, right? Because market is basically moving towards $270. We have another one here at $240 with $12 delivery. And we have another down here somewhere at $260 on bids with $17 delivery. Now this one is above market. We saw 2 up there that were under market. Temporal Forces, just like Stellar Crown, is one of those boxes that I would often come to eBay to look for if I really wanted to buy it, because we seem to find deals for Temporal Forces as well on eBay. So it is not a horrible place to look for it. Temporal Forces, we usually see it slightly a bit under market, but we're seeing here, like I said before, deals are running out, right? $249 with $11 delivery. That is TCG Player market price, and we saw a few others up there as well. So keep that in mind. Somebody bought a case, which are actually pretty rare for Temporal Forces, for $1,400, guys. $1,400. TCG Player market price for the single box is $260. Let's say if there were $250, that'd be $1,500 for a sealed case. This is below that. Under market with the booster box with the single ones, and probably under market with whatever TCG Player has it for the sealed box. This is actually a pretty rare product. The sealed case has been really rare for some time now for Temporal Forces. Amazing buy right there. Moving forward, the Paldean Fates ETB is sitting at $286. Most recently sold at $298. the box, the ETB is moving. $299, $300, $300, $300, $300 for the box that may contain that Bubble Mew, right? Paldean Fates is moving. In the last month, like I was saying before, price changes. In the last month alone, 13%, which is pretty insane. Of course, 2026 bull market is here. January 18th, as of today, $295 with bids, $11 delivery. We have another one here at 200 from somebody that doesn't have too many reviews here. Is that what it was? I'm not sure. It says it has a rip here, so $200, a whole $100 below market for a rip. Pretty crazy. We have here the Pokemon Center ETB. The reason why I'm not going to bring the Pokemon Center ETB is because for the past few weeks or last week and a half, it's been pretty flat. So I'm leaving it alone for now. But yeah, the regular ETB is heading upwards towards $300 where it was before. We have one here at 242 on bids. Great buy right there. But $300 here, $20 delivery, $278, $8 delivery. So that's that for the Pokemon, for the regular ETB on Paldean Fates, moving towards that $300 price point where it once was. Paldean Fates, the Great Tusk and Iron Treads Premium Collection Box. Wanted to bring these up just because this is probably the best price per pack item that you can find for Paldean Fates. Booster bundles for Paldean Fates are like $100, and you only have 6 packs in them. Even at $140, still the best pack for price item you have out there. It has increased 11% in the past month alone. It was down to $120, which was a great time to buy. And actually, in reality, it's still a great time to buy at $135. Did want to bring this product up. It is a great product to buy if you want to get into Paldean Fates. The 151 Elite Trainer Box, $392. It was at some point at about $400. What was it, $410? Came back down to $350 in the last month, up almost 7%, 6.7%, $392. Most recently sold at $400. We don't see any listings under $400, guys. $410 is the cheapest you have right now for a 151. On eBay, the ETB, $385. $400, best offer accepted with $11 delivery. $355 with $13 delivery. That's basically $370 there. What do we got? $375 here with $11 delivery. That's $386. What else we got here? $400, $390 plus $10 delivery, $380 free delivery. So we're seeing some deals here below market price, below that $400 to $410 range at around $380, but we're still seeing some still selling at $400 as well. So once again, everything is just starting to climb. And 151 is clearly not safe. It is 151, top tier set to invest in. 151 booster bundles. Insane what they've done in the past month. In the past 3 months, they've gone up 10%. In the past month alone, 13%. $107 is where we're at right now for the 151 booster bundles. Insane price movement for this product, but not surprising as well at the same time. Surprised but not surprised. Paldea Evolved Pokemon Center ETBs are currently sitting at $536. In the last 3 months, down 6.5%. In the last month, down 9.3%. So that's a decent price change for this right here. Once again, I wanted to show items that were having a price change, whether they're moving upward or downward. And I think it's a great time to buy this product, in my opinion. I was talking about Pokemon Center ETBs, like I said before, in my last video, comparing what the PSA 10 value was to the box. And I believe the PSA 10 value of that Pikachu promo in this box was close to $1,500, if not that exactly, which is pretty insane for you to see a box with the value at $500 currently being sold, right? Because they're being listed at $500 and even below that, what we're seeing right here, with a PSA 10, possible PSA 10 in there of $1,500. Great displayable product. Great product to have long term, just an amazing product. And a great time to buy, in my opinion. $500 on eBay, $12 delivery, $460 here with $15 delivery, $475 with $12.50 delivery, $550 actually at market price. We had another one here that was best offer accepted at $515, $485, $8 delivery, $416, $3 delivery. So once again, we're even seeing a price decrease on eBay as well as TCG Player. And I just think it's a great time to buy this product. It is really expensive. I'm not going to lie. $500 for an ETB is a lot. But we're seeing what other products are doing, right? We're seeing that Pokemon Center 151 ETB at almost $1,000. With that Snorlax in there, just at about $900 to $1,000 at a PSA 10. And now we have another set, right? That's amazing as well. A top tier set within Scarlet and Violet being Paldea Evolved. with a great PSA 10 value of that amazing Pikachu promo as well, with an amazing set, amazing display ability. Like, I think that's just a great pickup at $500, especially now, as always, buy the dip, and this is the dip for this product. How much lower will it go? We don't know, but sometimes trying to time the dip isn't the greatest thing either. But even as of right now, it's a great time to buy it. Next, Scarlet and Violet booster box, sitting at $250, most recently sold at $264. It dropped down to $218, guys, in the last month alone, up 14%, 14.25%. I did talk about this box right here, and we give Paldea Evolved such a great value, not only because of how deep the set is and what's in it, but also it's that gem rate for the Magikarp. Everyone loves the Magikarp, and they always talk about the gem rate for the Magikarp. The Magikarp has about an 18% gem rate, which is pretty small in my opinion. But then you look at cards within Scarlet and Violet, like the Slowpoke, like the Drowsy, like the Armarouge, the Riolu, the Routes, all of them really low gem rates. And I mean like way below the Magikarp. I think the Armarouge has like a 9% gem rate. I think the Slowpoke has an 11% gem rate. The Drowsy has a 12. I think the Riolu had like a 13. It's so insane. This is why you're seeing cards like the Armarouge that probably cost you $10 to buy, give you a $300 return at a PSA 10. So I think this set in reality is a bit underrated. There's so much potential value when it comes to grading cards within this set. So I'm not surprised this box is finally starting to get bought out, in a sense where it's starting to go back up to $250. Great base set in my opinion. Great cards in it as well. On eBay, it isn't really moving on eBay. I had to scroll down to January 13th. $225 plus $13 delivery puts you at almost $240, close to market, but not just there. We had one here at $360, best offer accepted with $11 delivery. We had another one at $234 plus $11 delivery, and another one at $235 plus $15 delivery. So it's a little cheaper on eBay, but still great buys in my opinion. I see this product still moving up. These were way cheaper a few weeks ago on eBay, and I think it's just going to keep climbing. Next, Crown Zenith ETB, sitting at $227 at the moment. It came down from $226 down to $196, a great buying opportunity for most. In the last month alone, it's up 9.75%. It's up to $227 from that $198 price point. And lowest listed on TCG Player is $240, guys. It's climbing really quickly down these listings to $250 and even more. It is a great product, amazing set. We all know Crown Zenith. We all have confidence in Crown Zenith. It's going to do well long term. On eBay, we're seeing listings at about $200, best offer accepted. The Pokemon Center ETB at $400 there, with pretty cool product. $220 for that one again with best offer accepted. We're seeing one here at $199, $6 delivery, $197 with $30 delivery there, which is pretty wild. $224 free delivery, $225, $11 delivery. So talking about deals or just a better price point, eBay is the place you want to go to buy Crown Zenith. If you're going to look for Crown Zenith, you have to go to eBay. You got a $20 price difference on a product that's just over $200 on eBay, but about $250 on TCG Player. We're somewhere in between, and those listings are climbing really fast on TCG Player. You got to come to eBay. Crown Zenith is a great pickup right now. Next, I wanted to look at the Crown Zenith Pokemon Center ETBs. Why? Because they have been declining in value so fast. They were at $450. They're down to $390. In the last month, down 6%. Under $400. We're seeing listings at $380. But then again, you're climbing right back up to $400 pretty quickly and above that. Still down from $450 to $400 is a pretty good pickup for the Pokemon Center ETB. And it looks really cool as well. Looking on eBay, we're seeing sales at $400, some below at around $300, $375 with $10 delivery, $405, $8 delivery, $452, best offer accepted, $17 delivery, probably puts you pretty close to that all-time high I had before. $361 from DC Sports, $15 delivery on auctions, great buy right there. $385, $15 delivery, pretty close to your TCG Play Market price. $405 with $6 delivery there as well. So this box did drop down in value. It is sitting pretty close to what we're seeing on TCG Player at that $400 range. Great product to have long term. I think it's going to do really well. It's just such a cool product, and Crown Zenith is just such a good set. Next, I want to talk about the Crown Zenith booster packs. Guys, they're doing wild things. In the past 3 months, they're up 22%. They were at some point at $13 in October. Throughout the year, the booster packs are up 115%. At the beginning of the year, they were at $6.50. In the past month as well, they're up 17, almost 18%, guys. Insane to see what these booster packs are doing. Most recently sold, we're seeing here at $17.44, and it's not getting any cheaper as you scroll down these listings. Crown Zenith just continues to perform. Insane. Next, the Lost Origin booster box. $698 market price. Of course, in the last 3 months, within the last 6 months, it was up to $823, dropped down all the way to $650. In the past month, it's up 7%. And a product that's this expensive, 7% is a pretty big price change. Most recently sold at $750. Lowest listed at the moment is $735. So I did talk about this before. It's not going to take a lot of sales for this price to increase, right? Because the price difference between the market price and the lowest listed, they're so dramatic that these step ups are just going to require a few sales for the market price to change dramatically. Lost Origin is still a great set, great Giratina, great trainer gallery, but the price movement in the past month is pretty decent, I would say, at 7%. Looking on eBay, as of yesterday, $700. We have here a best offer accepted. It was at 705. We have one here at 620 on bids, $10 delivery, which is an amazing buy for that right there. But I haven't seen too many sales. We have one here at $770 with the acrylic, which looks like an immaculate condition. So yeah, I've not seen too many sales on Lost Origin here. We're having to continue to scroll down past a decent amount of days, but it's also because so many ancillary products are here. We have one here that was best offer accepted at $700. We have one at $630 best offer accepted, $709, which was a buy it now with free delivery. So we're still seeing that even though we're seeing some best offer accepted and some buy it nows, they're still above that $650 range. So that box has been climbing up on both TCG Player to 700 and eBay. It is rising on both places, but it is a more expensive box. And as always, you know, the pool of people that can afford it will get smaller and smaller as we go up. So it'll take a little more time for a box like Lost Origin to move. I did want to bring up the Lost Origin booster packs, which have also been climbing in value. They did drop down to $9.80 we're seeing there in December. In the last month, they've increased 25, almost 26% per booster pack. They're up to $12 now. Most recently sold at $13.99. So once again, as I said before, when we see the little products, even the little ones, like the booster packs, start to increase in value, you can expect everything else to start to ride up as well. So just something I wanted to point out there, dramatic change in the price per pack there. Brilliant Stars booster boxes have also, of course, increased in the last month. You know, this has been a big talking point throughout all of YouTube. Up 15%, basically 4.6% in the last month alone. It was down to about $500, a little below, back up to $560. Most recently sold at $600. Lowest listed is at $585. So Brilliant Stars getting really expensive, really fast. Just a great set, right? The alternate art is not amazing, but the trainer gallery is really doing some special things. As of today, 17th, $666 on something from the United Kingdom. We have one here at $615 with $615 with $7 delivery. Sorry about that. We have another one at $712 with you know what? I didn't click US only. I'm sorry about that. Let's just reset that real quick. That's okay. Here we go. 410, which I don't know how accurate this is. This guy had no feedback. I did see that before. We have one here at $615, which we saw earlier. Another one at $580, best offer accepted, $15 delivery. Let's see what else we got here, because there aren't too many happening. We have one here at $600, $9 delivery. We have another one at $680. Buy it now. How accurate that is exactly, I don't know. That's well above market, but we're still seeing sales at $600, even though we saw some that were best offer accepted $580. The difference couldn't have been too great with $15 delivery on it. Still pretty close to what we're seeing on market right now. But of course, we still see some sales. You can find some sales for Brilliant Stars. just looking for opportunities where no one else is looking, or maybe if you have the patience to find those opportunities when others don't. Another guy here, no positive feedback whatsoever, $560 on the 14th. Hopefully it's a real box. We just, question these zero positive feedback guys or no feedback whatsoever. Next, moving on to Celebrations ETBs, sitting at $257. In the last 6 months, we've had a lot of movement on this box, right? It had a high of $263, came all the way back down at some point in November to $197. In the last month, it's up 5%, back up to $256. Of course, with the 30th anniversary right around the corner, this box continues to move rapidly. And as well as the Pokemon Center ETB for Celebrations. It's a beautiful, beautiful box. I keep saying that all the time. I don't like the set itself. I don't like what's in there. I know that the Pokemon in there are the most popular Pokemon out there, but I still don't like the box itself. Like the set itself, actually, it's just me, right? I don't like it. So this box in the past 3 months did drop down to $333. In the last month alone, it has climbed up almost 12% at 11.85% growth in the last month. Market is $373 right now. Most recently sold at $415, and the lowest listed is at $409, guys. So this box is climbing up really, really fast. It is a Pokemon Center ETB. It is very exclusive. It's very rare at the moment. So don't expect this box to get any cheaper with the 30th right around the corner. On eBay, the regular ETB has 2 sales here from the same seller with 0% feedback. One 225 best offer accepted, and one was 225 just bought straight out with the $8 delivery. We have the Pokemon Center ETB that sold for $400 free delivery, pretty much at market price. We have the regular ETB again at $240, another one at $245, $8 delivery on the first and $12 on the second. Another one at $235, another one at $225. So looking at what we're seeing on TCG Player, you were seeing that eBay has a much better deal being offered for these Celebrations ETBs. So of course you got to come to eBay. You have about a $25 price difference or $15 to $20 price difference for a lot of these here. Of course, some of these are selling at market price, even on bids, as we're seeing on this one at $247. But we have another one here at $220 on bids as well, right? And that was just today. All of these were today. So keep in mind, Celebrations, if you were to buy, I think eBay is the best place. You get to at least see the condition. You're seeing price points being much better than what we're seeing on TCG Player. Next, Evolving Skies. Of course, it's really expensive, Evolving Skies, but what this box is doing is insane. It dropped down all the way to $2,185 in the past 3 months. In the past month, it is up 5%. 5% for a product that is over $2,000 is a lot. It's up from $2,183 back up to $2,365, and most recently sold is at $2,560. We're basically back where Evolving Skies left off around the all-time high, which is pretty wild. The lowest listed is $2,450, and I'm not going into what the pictures are here because he might have some damage on there, maybe loose wrapping, and actually you can see the pictures here without me clicking on it. But the person does have a 94.7%, I guess, feedback, and people kind of look at that, right? And they might move on to this next guy here, which is at $2,600. So Evolving Skies doing big things, and of course it's not a surprise to any of us that Evolving Skies is moving the way that it is. I did want to talk about the Evolving Skies booster box case, and this is probably one of the most upsetting things for me because the box, this is moving like an insane amount. Market right now, price is $14,881. Most recently sold is at $16,800. And this is what's sad. A year ago, probably today, I had the capital to buy these boxes, these cases. And I mean like a few of them. I had the capital. I looked past it just because of the price point of where it was, and I didn't know what it was going to do, and it was just a lot to put into something. And so I looked past it, even though I didn't listen to the advice of my fiance. I had the capital, and I would be up so much right now if I had listened, and I do regret it. And this is what I mean, just trying to move forward with these investments without regret. trying to make the best decisions now, but these days I dive so much deeper into these investments. I highly doubt I'm going to be making mistakes like these again. Will I have some regrets? Yeah, but nothing like this whatsoever. Because I take investing way more serious now than I did back then. Even though I was doing some investing, nothing compared to now, right? But yeah, guys, insane movement on the Evolving Skies booster box case. If you just did the math on the booster boxes themselves, right, and you bought 6 individual cases for $2,500, you'd be at $15,000. But lowest listed is pretty close to 20,000. Second to lowest listed is at 20,000, which is a $5,000 premium, which is just absolutely absurd. Pretty wild, actually. Looking on eBay for sold listings on Evolving Skies booster boxes, we had one here listed at $2,900. It was best offer accepted. I did try to find it on 130 point. It makes me believe that maybe the seller canceled or somebody, maybe the payment didn't go through because it's not on 130 point. But we do have a booster box here that also was at $17,000, $500. Best offer accepted. But I wanted to ignore what was on eBay and I wanted to go straight to 130 point because of how valuable these sales are, or just these items. And I didn't want to do it for so many of the other listings that we saw here, all the other products. But looking at 130 point, just seeing straight sales here. We had 3 auctions for Evolving Skies cases here. We had one at 13,700, well below what we're seeing on TCG Player, might I add. That's exactly why I wanted to bring this up. TCG Player had listings at $20,000 for Evolving Skies booster box cases, which is insane. But we have one that sold here for 13,700, another one at 13,900, and one at $13,126. Still amazing buys. It is Evolving Skies. It's going to do really, really well either way. And we're seeing the booster boxes here at $2,450. And don't confuse this one with the other one. It is not the same one. It's not even angled the same way on the box. But $2,450. Once again, starting to climb up. Another one at $2,700. Well above, I'm pretty sure, the all-time high. I think the all-time high was like at $2,600. A case here sold for $15,500. It was best offer accepted from that $17,500 buy. And we're seeing booster boxes here, sorry, at $2,600 here, and another one at $1,350 here for that booster box. So, man, Evolving Skies is moving rapidly. Like, so much is happening for the most expensive modern box out there. And I would say that everything just continues to follow suit, right? This is really the thing that's leading the charge. If you can see Evolving Skies moving at these price points, that means we're going to see everything else continue to move as well. But yeah, guys, that is it for the video. I hope you guys did like the change when it comes to me moving from, these sets that maybe had no movement within the last week or two, and then focusing on products that have had very dramatic movement within the last month or the last week. Maybe some of these things that I was talking about before bored some people because there were no price movements. Or if you did like what I was doing before, please let me know in the comment section below. Once again, this allowed me to diversify a little bit and touch up on different products, whether it be booster packs that are increasing in value, whether it be things in Prismatic like the Pokemon Center ETBs on some other products as well, or the surprise box maybe. Just let me touch up on different things and still fit everything within that 1 hour. I was also trying to make the video a little shorter, but it seems like that's not happening whatsoever. I still hit 1 hour, and I was trying to really shorten the video. I thought it would, but it did not. There was just so much to talk about. There's so much price movement. Just so many things to stay on top of in the market for you to really, really be aware of what's happening. But whatever your opinions you have of how I do this market analysis video, whether it be advice, whether it be criticism, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. Every little bit helps. Do not forget about that hype button. It would really help me out. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe out there. Peace.